Hello, and to my channel. I am Neil, and this is Caregivers Community. Today we are going to talk about grief. Grief is complex, and it doesn't have to be just even though it does heavy when something does happen, a breakup or loss of one, or even a it can feel very heavy. There is also a syndrome that is called broken heart syndrome. It mostly affects women, but can affect men. It occurs with heart attacks. When you lose somebody, it can occur with heart inflammations and occur with blood not pumping enough to your heart. Those are usually symptoms of broken heart syndrome. That's all of your body. Grief also can affect your whole body with pain, physical pain all over your body, whether it migraines, physical pain in general, just all over. It doesn't have to be any special spot. It can be your feet, it can be your back, it can be your neck, or physical pain. Grief can your immune system, affect the way you fight off virus, also affect just anything in general. It can affect your nervous system. Your nervous system usually protects you from dangers. When your nervous system feels overstimulated or overloaded and it's screaming, I'm in fear, that's usually can be an occurrence of grief. And while you're grieving, your nervous system can overreact and feel overstimulated, and that can happen for many years, which is completely normal. All of these symptoms can go away. There are also symptoms that can occur. I'm just trying to, let me just pull things up to just remember, because I didn't memorize everything. Okay. So grief can just affect you overall as a human being. We all experience grief differently. It's not something that you can actually get over, and people shouldn't have to push you to get over it quickly enough. It can occur your gut and your brain. You can experience brain fog for many years. That's usually a gut and a brain thing that happens. Brain fog can be categorized as grief fog as well. When you're experiencing grief or experiencing grief before loss, you can actually have brain fog, and it affects just everything. Um, the way that you talk, the way that you think, the way that you remember things, even having a conversation can be really difficult. Your sleep patterns can change when you're grieving somebody. Sometimes you will have a difficult time sleeping through the night, or have traumatic PTSD maybe from the experience and not sleep properly, or just have your sleep patterns change. Even your eating patterns might change. You might overeat because of grief, or you might not eat at all. It can change day to day. You might be normal one day, and the next you might just not want to eat, or you might overeat, or you might eat things that are not the best for you, or you might eat things that aren't good for you. It just depends on how you're feeling that day. Grief is not a grief is a constant thing. It's not a timeline that can be kind of snapped out of. It can occur for many years, many months, even many weeks, depending on what grief you are experiencing. The grief that I'm mostly talking about is um, loss and grief before loss. Those things can occur for years, but you can get over grief. Grief is not a forever thing. It does stay with you forever, but you can move forward and you can get over grief. It just takes time. That's why having people around you that support you, that help you talk things out, like grief groups or bereavement groups, are wonderful for that, because it helps you process the grief and it helps you move forward in the grief. And you can move forward even while you're still grieving. The grief will be with you for a lifetime, but you can move forward and can live a normal life even as the grief stays with you forever. You find positive things to still go on while you're living with grief. You can find optimistic events and little things to keep you grateful, and just knowing that grief is not, does not define you. So there's other things about grief that I would like to talk about. Oh, the hormones. Grief usually stimulates your cortisol, which can cause, it usually caused by stress, but grief is stressful. So your cortisol does rise, and that usually makes you put on weight or makes you have just a hard time. Maybe your muscles start to hurt, your body aches, and you just feel, like I said, with the nervous system, you start to feel very overstimulated, and maybe things like making a phone call are hard to do nowadays, or just doing the normal everyday autopilot things that you do become a little bit more difficult and become stressful because you're experiencing so much stress because you're experiencing grief. And usually, what happens when somebody passes away, the first year of grief, you tend to be in this kind of autopilot, foggy, um, can't really understand why you're not grieving sometimes. That usually occurs in the first year, but it can last many years. And it's completely natural. It takes a while for your body to understand that the person's not coming back. So then it just, when you do kind of, what I've liked to kind of explain is that your body kind of thaws out from this kind of foggy autopilot stuff, depending on the, it depends on just how many years or even a year of grief that you're experiencing. It can happen at any time. You just start to cry a lot, um, feel overwhelmed, maybe have these weird emotions come up out of nowhere that make no sense, like anger, resentment, bargaining, acceptance, but it's kind of all just coming up. Sadness kind of pops in, and you just kind of don't know why you're grieving in that moment because it doesn't actually make sense because there's nothing going on that's affecting you in that moment. But that just happens when you're grieving. Just randomly, things will just happen, and you'll just feel certain emotions. Just like milestones will happen and come up, like birthdays and maybe anniversaries. And those things will affect the way that you do grieve. You can also fall into depression, have extreme anxiety, and all of those things are normal too. You can get out of them. It just depends on your time. Everybody's timeline of grief is different, and you can't rush grief, but you can look forward from it. Grief does not define you. Your experience does not define you. You change from grief. Of course, change affects is the way that you are as a person, and it affects it changes you as a person in general, and doesn't define you though. You can still make a positive impact in your life from grief that you're experiencing. Loss does not define anybody. It is a difficult thing to overcome. But if you surround yourself with community, with friends, with family that understand and are loving and accepting, you can move forward. And it's okay to grieve the person for the rest of your life. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing broken inside of you. You don't have to rush your grief, even though society expects you to get over things in maybe 2 years or 5 years. It's not up to society what your timeline is of grieving. Grieving is a process, it's a lifetime process, but you can move forward and you can be happy and you can find moments of clarity and excitement and love and fun and ways to enjoy living while also making memories of the person who passed away. By saying their name, you can just make an impact by maybe experiencing things that they used to do that you can now do, maybe honoring them in some kind of way, maybe celebrating their birthday every year, maybe celebrating their anniversary of their heavenly like passing. There are ways that you can move forward without being stuck in grief, but understand that your body is going to be exhausted, and your brain doesn't understand when you lose somebody. It doesn't understand that the person's not coming back. The brain thinks that the person will come back because that's always been the case. So when you start to experience grief, your brain is rewiring itself to understand this person is not coming back into your life. There will be no more phone calls. There will be no more conversations. There will be no more walking through the door. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself to figure out that. And it affects your brain, your heart, and your body. That's what grief is. And depending on the grief that you are experiencing, whether it be a parent, sibling, an aunt, a grandparent, anybody, a friend, grief does affect you, and has there's nothing wrong with you. Grief is just I love grief is love with nowhere to go. But it can go places. It can go to volunteering for things that, like the person that you passed away used to love. It can go to helping people. It can go to making new memories. It can go to honoring that person. Love, grief is still love. And there are ways to transform that grief into something wrong. But you just have to let yourself grieve enough, and you can't force yourself to grieve quickly and to be over it, because you're never going to be over it. There are just ways around grief that will help you form your relationship and ways to move forward and find ways to honor that loved one by celebrating them in every single way, in every single day. You will find a way to honor the person that you love. When it comes to my brother, I honor him on his birthday. I celebrate his birthday every year, and I celebrate the passing of his anniversary. And I do that by um, watching a favorite Christmas movie of his, because he passed away 5 days before Christmas. On his birthday, I buy his favorite cake, and we celebrate with that, and we blow out a candle for him. And recently, I have been watching his favorite show, and that's helping me move forward. It's just little things to stay connected to him and keep him in my life because he's gone. But I am moving forward, and I'm doing it the best that I can. And I know that grief is hard, but I am grateful enough that I go to a support group called BFO Durham Region, and they are helping me move forward. They are helping me say my brother's name and share memories of him, and even share my sadness and my happiness of my brother. And I get to sit with other siblings, and I get to talk to them, and I get to relate to them, and I feel less alone. So those are things that I'm grateful for, that I can experience, that will keep me moving forward. I'm part of a community. I feel very supported. I don't feel judged. I feel like I'm becoming myself again, and maybe even a better version of myself, because my brother has taught me so much. And him being my baby brother doesn't matter. He taught me so much about life, and I'm going to take everything that he has shown me and taught me in his short period of life, and I'm going to use that to make my life more fulfilling, more better, and go out in the world and be the best version of myself. And I have him to thank for that, like I did in life and like I did in his passing. He has always been a blessing to me, and no matter what, I will always be his big sister, and he will always be my big brother and be my baby brother. And he will always be a part of me, and now more than ever, he is a part of me, because I have to now do things that will honor him. And maybe that's even means taking a little bit of his personality and matching it with mine, and just becoming a different person, because grief changes you, and that's not a bad thing. Just don't let grief change you into being an angry person, because there's things in life that you can't change. But the thing that you can change about your situation is that you can honor your loved one by finding reasons to be happy again and finding reasons to love life. They don't want you to be angry. Living life in anger doesn't serve anybody. It only hurts you and the people around you. And people don't like to be around angry people. So just find ways to keep that love alive and keep honoring that person by showing people that you love them, because you should always tell the people that you love them, because you never know what's going to happen. So just just know that grief is complex. It is difficult, but it is also can be a beautiful thing if you choose to make it something beautiful and something meaningful and something that can just be so much love in the world and change the world at the same time. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share this video to somebody who you know is grieving. Just let them know that they are not alone. And if you are experiencing grief yourself, be patient with yourself, be kind with yourself. Your body is carrying a lot, and it's dealing with a lot that you don't even know about. So just don't rush yourself into having to be over it, because there is never going to be a point where you're over it. You just have to be okay with where you're at and start to accept that this is your new reality, and you will get there. You just have to be patient with yourself. So thank you so much for watching Caregivers Community. Let's put the care back in caregiving. And I am Danielle, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.